shadow of a horrific attack in Southport on young girls, and I think our first thoughts are obviously with the victims, their families, the wider community who are in raw pain and grief. And I know that they and other people want answers, and I'm determined that we will provide answers. But shockingly, what we've also seen is marauding mobs on the streets of Southport, attacking the very same police officers who responded to the awful attack on those girls, who I met for myself that next afternoon when they'd all come back into work, notwithstanding what they'd been through the day before, but only then to be met with violence by the thugs who have no interest whatsoever in the raw pain of the community in Southport. And Serena, we would all like to send our best wishes to the 50 or so officers who have been injured.
Those are a few words from our dear leader, and I'm going to analyse that short announcement after I've told you that I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. All right, let's just go through this bit by bit.
In the shadow of a horrific attack in Southport on young girls, and I think our first thoughts are obviously with the victims.
Did you notice that? Young girls. There was a space between the young and the girls, and that's because he was thinking about what he was saying. He possibly was going to say children, but he didn't say that. He realised that might have been a bit of a mistake because children was too close. Girls could be, well, any sort of young female person, not necessarily part of another group, but children are yours. Children are things you protect. Children are what you pass down to the next generation. They are your immortality, and they are from you. So he didn't want to say children. He said young girls. He's already distancing himself from those children.
Thoughts are obviously with the victims, their families, the wider community who are in raw pain and grief.
So he mentioned the families. He didn't talk about parents, brothers, sisters, just families, which again is a distance, and then the wider community. Again, he is doing everything he can while extending sympathy, not to put this murder into the sort of context that it should be in. That is the attack on the parents and the close relatives.
And I know that they and other people want answers, and I'm determined that we will provide answers.
Right, so he says what people want is answers, and they'll provide answers. No, what people want are their children back. They already have the answers. When you're bringing people in from all over the world without adequate controls, you're going to get a lot of this. In this case, it appears that the parents are perfectly legitimately here. But we all know there are many who are not, and we all know that there are many who have caused tremendous pain and grief to other people, because the answers are to restrict immigration. We don't know the circumstances of this one, but this stands for a whole lot of others.
But shockingly, what we've also seen is marauding mobs.
Now, I wasn't there. I don't know, but I don't believe him about marauding mobs. They've invented the EDL, which doesn't exist anymore. And I have seen some clips which make it look like the police were pushing people. And of course, people were pushing back. I can't say for sure one way or the other. But the fact that he called them marauding mobs, did he call the gypsies in Hare Hills marauding mobs when they were stoning police cars and the police just ran away? They weren't pushing those guys in Hare Hills. They ran away while their police cars were set in flames. And I don't remember him talking about marauding mobs there. So we have an attitude here that he feels he can insult and belittle people, but only certain people. And I think probably in that we have the answer to the first question they were going to find the answers to.
On the streets of Southport, attacking the very same police officers who responded to the awful attack on those girls.
I am not sure about that, but the clips I saw, the police in the dealing with the marauding mobs were in riot gear. So maybe they were the same police, but they were the same police tooled up for a fight.
Who I met for myself that next afternoon when they'd all come back into work, notwithstanding what they'd been through the day before.
What they've been through. What about what the families and the parents were going through and are still going through and will be going through to the end of their lives? And he's talking about the trauma suffered by the police. His whole attitude is one of closeness to the authorities, not to the victims.
Only then to be met with violence by the thugs who have no interest.
We call them thugs. I don't know whether they were acting badly or not. They may have been. But when a lot of people in America started acting badly and burning down towns, I don't remember him talking about thugs. In fact, all I remember is him doing this.
Whatsoever in the raw pain of the community in Southport.
Yeah, now again, he's talking about the community. He's already, this group that he's looking at, that's nothing to do with him. These aren't families, they're a community. Communities have speakers, so you don't get so close to them. Do you see that the distance he feels from these people? It shows up all the time, again and again, in everything he says.
At Serena, we would all like to send our best wishes to the 50 or so officers who have been injured.
And that's it. That's the attitude of Keir Starmer. He will kneel for Black Lives Matter. He will not say anything about gypsies in Hare Hills. He will not talk about the mobs that assembled outside a school in Batley and are still threatening the lives of the teacher and his family for giving a legitimate lesson in that school. He's not talking about those, but these white people who may or may not have been acting badly. They're thugs. That's it. There's nothing more to say when you call somebody a thug, isn't it? You have classified them and dismissed them. That is the attitude. And you know what? Probably some of those thugs voted for the Labour Party on the grounds that the Labour Party is supposed to be for the working man. That's the big irony, isn't it? This fellow has absolutely no fellow feeling for the working man at all, even though his dad was a tool maker. Till next time. You can help my channel by clicking like, by subscribing, by clicking the notification bell, and by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels are in the description, also links to donation sites, but really the best way you can help me is simply by clicking like. Thank you.